Hello, this is Peaceful Anarchism on the Voluntary Virtues Network every Thursday at 1 p.m. And you can also find me at the Conscious Resistance Network or the Conscious Resistance YouTube channel. So I'm your host, Danilo Cuellar, and today we have Justin Nunez, a anarchist graphic web designer from Florida, who is
How's it going?
spreading anarchy on the internet, which is basically the battleground of the modern anarchist. so,
All
so Justin, tell us how you became an anarchist. What led you to this philosophy?
right. I don't think it's one thing. I think it was many things, many factors of becoming an anarchist. I think I've told you before. I started out as a Republican in high school, mainly because I didn't believe in paying taxes or higher taxes, and that pretty much made me a Republican. Then eventually, when I reached college, uh, my views changed a little bit. I wanted to put more money towards schools and bridges and all kinds of investments in our country. And, after that, after experiencing life, after, seeing how hard it is to live in the real world and be on your own, I've just realized you just can't count on the government, period. So, so, so yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
So, was there any books or personalities or podcasters that influenced you?
I would have to say it was Adam Kokesh and Stefan Molyneux. I kind of just found them on YouTube. I was just looking around, and at first I thought they were just complete nut jobs, and I would listen to like a few minutes of their ideas, and yeah, I would just label them as extremists for some reason, and you know, I was out of work for a while, and I decided to give them a second try and really try to understand where we're coming from, right? So
Yeah.
it was then after watching most of their videos and really trying to understand um, where they're coming from is when I realized they're not crazy.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty logical and
Everyone else is the insane one.
yeah. You know, uh, I really don't know how to explain it, but a lot of the things that Adam Kokesh brought up, especially when it comes to cops, when it comes to government, uh, made a lot of sense, and I would just have to look back when I was growing up and realize that I didn't really have government there to make sure I was okay, that I had food on the table, that I had gas in my car, and uh, had lunch money. It was everything that I had was provided by my family, by my father, who started his own business and was working really hard. He had two or three people under him, and that's how we got by. Um, they later divorced. I think when I was around 6 or 7 years old, and it was just my sister and I and my mom, and she had to work and she cleaned offices, but she provided for us, and we never really had to go to the government for anything.
Mhm. So,
So
so how is
uh,
how are they with regarding these views? When you talk about this with them.
well, my dad understands. Right off the bat, he agrees with a lot of things that I talked to him about, especially when it comes to taxes. That's the one thing that my dad worries about every year is filing for taxes, and if he can afford taxes that year,
Yeah.
and things like that. And And when I spoke to my mom about it, she was I don't know, she agreed with most of what I've been trying to uh, try to communicate to her when it comes to anarchy, when it comes to a voluntary society.
Yeah.
But then she resorts to well, that's not the world that we live in, and in the real world we need government for this and that.
Hmm.
So we butt heads a lot, especially during dinner.
Hmm.
When I talk about the war, when I talk about education and how lousy it is, and there's so many people in my situation where they have higher degrees than I do. Uh, some of them will have a master's degree or a PhD, and they're working at a restaurant, and they're busting their ass to pay off this huge debt that they incurred while going to school.
Yep.
And they honestly don't know. They don't know why. They don't even feel empowered uh, after the education that they had, after all the years of writing assignments
Hmm.
and studying late at night. They don't see the investment.
Yeah.
And why should they? I mean, they're in $40,000 in debt, and they're working at a restaurant.
Hmm.
Where your degree doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Too many people think a piece of paper is justification for being in $50,000, $100,000 in debt.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And it was only after I left school that I realized the economy was really bad, and I'm applying for all these different types of jobs, and I wasn't getting any callbacks. No one really cared about my degree. They all
Yeah.
asked me about how many years of experience I had, and luckily I was working in the field while I was pursuing my degree,
Yeah.
so I had some a little bit of a advantage over my classmates. But even now, my classmates still call me every now and then, and they ask me, "Do you have a job? Are you working?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. Thank God I'm working. I'm still working."
Yeah.
And and they're not right now. They're still looking for work, and a
Hmm.
lot of times they don't have a certain skill set that they should have been trained in school, but for whatever reason it wasn't in the curriculum. So now they can't get into the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what happened to my classmates.
Yeah, and then also the internet. To me, it seems like it's rendering a lot of college degrees to be obsolete, right?
Yeah,
Because how much information can you acquire for free online, right? Through your own
yeah,
independent investigation, through YouTube, through Wikipedia, through Google.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's ridiculous. You could do a lot of things on through the internet. Before the internet, you would actually have to call an expert. If you need to open your car, or if you need to do some home improvements, or change a tire.
yeah, yeah,
You needed to find someone that could do that for you, and it's so empowering now. It's kind of like having a library on your phone or on your computer.
yeah.
It's crazy. You just Google it, and it's right there in
Yeah.
seconds. It's
It's
usually you don't even have to go to the second or third page. It's right there on the first page.
yeah, 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 yeah. It really is awesome, and I think it's just the beginning. It's like we're just scratching the surface. Like I think the potential of what we can achieve with the internet is just monumental.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible.
You know.
It's amazing how I was in middle school, and that's when the internet was taking off, and it was just this clunky thing that not a lot of people used. And now I'm out of school. I'm 26 years old, and I'm working for a company as a web designer, as an email designer. And
Yeah.
this is what I do for a living now. So it's it's amazing how things change.
So how many of
or
those skills?
how things direct you.
How many of those skills did you learn in public school?
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. I would say the majority of the things that I learned on my own. I learned going on YouTube. I learned going to Barnes and Nobles. There's just so many good resources out there. And honestly, there'd be times where I'd be in class and we're going through the material, and I'm like, well, I did this years ago. I've already, you know, I've already done this.
Yeah.
I'm already doing this at work. I'm being trained in this now. It's
exactly.
And sometimes it's there are skill sets that you don't even need.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but definitely big time. Yeah, it's like anytime the government takes over any industry, whether it's government schools or healthcare or transportation, it's like it freezes in time.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's crazy. I mean, I told you about this before. My mom works at a pediatric clinic, and they're struggling to keep the doors open because there's just so much red tape. There's so much rules and regulations in that industry that it's actually putting her competitors out of business. And sometimes they call my mom's pediatric clinic and asking if they need extra help, or if they'll hire them to work there, or if they want to do some kind of merge with them.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. No, it's shocking. It's shocking that you can compete with someone and then months later they want to merge with you because they can't survive.
Yeah. Wow.
And even my mother's pediatric clinic was is struggling. And it's tough. It's tough when you have so much paperwork to fill out that's mainly mandated by government, and it's getting in the way of actually providing the service to patients. And pediatrics is not an easy job. There's a lot of therapists that you have to pay, and there's a lot of patients that you have to bring in, and you can't service them unless you have all this paperwork done. And then you have to deal with Medicare and Medicaid. And sometimes they don't pay them on time. Sometimes the business is waiting to collect $10,000-$20,000 that they should have been paid months ago.
Wow.
Okay, and there's been times where the boss just has to take out a loan.
Oh, wow!
To keep, really? Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
That sucks. Wow.
These are the things that my mother tells me.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
So how is Obamacare affecting them?
Oh, shoot. I mean, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
It's just they can't deal with it. My mom actually has to go out and do some kind of training because they need to teach them extra steps in processing paperwork, and if they don't do it right, then they'll get penalized or go to jail or lose their license, or they can't practice pediatrics or what have you. And they have such a hold on the industry. It's becoming unprofitable to have a pediatric clinic.
Oh, really?
So yeah, again, a lot of pediatric clinics are just giving up. They're closing their doors, and they just can't deal with it because it's too much. It's already hard enough as it is to run a business. Now you have to follow these rules that the government wants you to follow, and if you don't, then they'll put you in jail or give you a fine or what have you. So
yeah, my mother, I grew up in a democratic family, right? Fiercely democratic, and now my mother calls herself a socialist. So she's even worse. But she's constantly, actually, she's one of the people that are actually praising Obamacare.
Oh, really?
We need a single payer healthcare. This is how we're all gonna get healthcare. This is wonderful. Of course. Go ahead.
It's sad because I was in her shoes not too long ago, and I just believe that if we had the right people in government, then things would work out. But you get to a point where you look back, and in every country they're having the same problems. They're saying the same thing. If we just have the right people do this and that, then the country will be fine. And I guess they've been doing that throughout history, and
Yeah.
it's not happening. I don't remember one time in my life where I thought to myself, "Thank God for government. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this, and that." So
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I think some people who support government, they say that it's like an orchestra and a conductor, right? So the president or people in government would be like the conductor managing the entire orchestra, right? And so that's how a lot of people think. It's just somebody who's managing everyone else. We need somebody in power to manage everyone else, right?
yeah,
But the difference is that the members of the orchestra were not forced to be there, right?
yeah,
and they're free to leave if they want, right?
right,
Whereas the same, it does not apply to us,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It-
So I had a lot of time to think about it, and I realized you can't you can't trust politicians, because in every election, they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. I'm gonna put more money towards education. I'm gonna put more money towards healthcare. I'm gonna fix our immigration problem, and they do it every election. They come out with these ads and they fight against each other, and it's ridiculous. It's getting to a point where if I see a political ad, I'll just turn the TV off. I'm done with it. I know I see it for what it is. It's just a little chess game,
yeah,
and they're just manipulating people. And unfortunately, people just they listen to it because they need some kind of hope, some sense of hope, that something's going to change, and they need to hear it. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And sometimes you just gotta be real with yourself, and just realize there's no one out there that's going to help you. You're just going to have to figure it out on your own. You're just going to have to work really hard. You're just going to have to be opportunistic, and just improvise your opportunities.
yeah. I think people, they get stuck in this mindset where they're like, if I just stay in my dead end job and I work there and I go to and I get on time and I'm there on time and I do my work and I go home,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be fine, right? And I don't have to try, more in my. I don't have to pursue anything more profound than that.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's sad because I look at my mom, and she works so hard. She works like a horse,
Yeah,
and it's sad for someone who is really tired of going to work in the morning, and then leaving at 6 o'clock, and getting home exhausted, and she only has enough time to eat, take a shower, and go to bed, do the same thing all over again, and she doesn't see a way out, and neither did I when I was working. But it got to a point where you think to yourself, well, maybe the best way out of poverty is just to start a business, and there was a lot of times where I'll be speaking with an entrepreneur, or a friend of mine who's also running a business, or his friend starting a business, and it's great to be around those type of people, because they really get it. They're the ones that are working at these 9 to 5 jobs and decide, this is not worth it. I'm not gonna spend the rest of my life working for someone else's dream or for someone else's business. I'm just gonna save up money and start my own business, hire people to work for me, and offer a service or some kind of product. And um, that's that works for people.
Yeah, that reminds me of the recent Hillary Clinton comment that she said about. She said, "Don't let anyone tell you that businesses or corporations create jobs.
I know. I could not believe that.
That was amazing. And then
Yeah. I mean, like how could a politician say that? Well, never mind. Never mind. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, right?
yeah, right. But then I heard that so many people called her out on it that she finally had to like how do you say, like, redact it, and she said she's like, no, I didn't mean that. What I meant to say was don't let anyone tell you that tax breaks create jobs. And I'm like, what? Is that really any better? Like,
Yeah. You know what? We just have to wake people up. They need to. You need to, make them realize that they're living in the matrix, and we said that a lot, and it's true. We live in a matrix. We live in a society where, they tell you, go to school and go to college, and then find a good paying job, and then save up for retirement, and that's your life, and a lot of people were raised that way. I was raised that way. I went to school. I worked hard. I busted my ass, and as soon as I got out of school, I struggled. I couldn't find work, and I had to improvise. I had to find opportunities where I didn't think there were opportunities.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a safety net. I just had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I just got my shit together and decided, I'm gonna start some kind of web design business, and so I started freelancing. That's I've been freelancing for 10 months, and that's actually helped me out a lot.
Yeah, I remember.
So,
I remember reading a statistic that said, like, in the early 1900s, the ratio of employees to entrepreneurs was like 5%. 5% were employees, 95% were entrepreneurs, right? Business owners. And today, that's completely reversed, right? 5% are entrepreneurs, 95% are employees.
You know what? And that's so sad. That's extremely sad, because we now have a population that has a mentality that if they just go to school and work under someone, they'll be fine. And this is not the right economy for that. We don't have an economy to sustain that idea.
Yeah.
And we need to go back to starting businesses and actually provide something, contribute to society. We need to be a population, a society of hustlers,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds funny, it sounds hilarious, it sounds like something that, you picture in your head, like some kind of pimp or someone dealing with drugs, but at the end, it's people that are hustling, they're getting by, they're actually doing better than you.
Yeah. And they're creating a product that people voluntarily want to buy, right?
Right. And that's what we need to do now. We can't rely on jobs anymore. They don't pay enough, and they're being choked to death. With taxes and regulations, and it's too much. And then they go crazy because Burger King wants to move out of the country and start business elsewhere. I mean, they're not crazy. It's the taxation in this country is going too far.
Yeah. So when you talk to people about anarcho-capitalism, what are some of the arguments that people give you?
The first thing they say is who's gonna build the roads?
Yes.
What about cops? What about courts? And just that's mainly what I hear. But I mean, I've told you before. I read an article about a guy who's already working on roads. There's already a private company that will sell security for communities. What do police do right now? They don't protect communities. I don't remember the last time a police officer drove by my community just to make sure everything was safe. You think when I'm broken down in a on a street, they come and assist me or help me with my car, anything. No, they drive right past me, unless I run a red light or I don't have my seatbelt on. Then they want to assist me by giving me a $200 ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always tell people, you really think cops are there to keep you safe. When you're driving and you see the lights flashing in your rearview mirror, do you feel safe?
No, like honestly, every person I've spoken to, a lot of my friends, I tell them, listen, how do you feel when the police officers put their lights on behind you? Most of them don't say, oh man, I'm so glad, I feel so safe right now.
I know, right?
No one's gonna come and pull me over and take my money. No, but it's scary. I get nervous every time I see the police light up their vehicles. I've had multiple experiences with police officers, and they've never been good experiences. They were always very violent towards me. They were rude to me.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. I've never had a good experience with a police officer. Even when you're polite with them,
Yeah.
they always have some kind of attitude. They always have some kind of I don't know, some kind of superiority complex.
Have you filmed any of your encounters with them?
There was once, and I kind of messed up on my phone. I was trying to take it with my phone, but I got too nervous and I didn't film the whole encounter. And basically, what happened was a friend of mine actually called me to help her move her sister's belongings from her house.
Yeah.
And long story short, her sister was going through a divorce with her ex-husband, and they were moving their stuff out, and it was a very toxic environment. I felt it as soon as I got there. They were both fighting. It was very uncomfortable, and the cops were called there multiple times because the sister just didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And we're trying to convince these cops, listen, can you just stay here until the process is over, because we don't feel safe here. I didn't feel safe. The husband was there with his group of people helping him out, and I felt they were really aggressive. I felt that they were ready to do something if there wasn't a police officer there. It was just a very hostile environment. So I'm there trying to convince the cop, could you just stay until the proceedings are over.
Yeah.
And basically they told us, well, we don't have time for this. We need to be out. We need to be servicing the community. I was like, what do you mean? We called you because we need your services.
Yeah.
Right? Like what they really mean is that they need to hide behind a bush and catch people speeding.
It's very noble of them, right?
Yeah. So, long story short, a female officer later arrived at the residence, and I was in and out of the house taking some of her belongings out. Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm in and out, and they're still trying to calm the husband and the wife down, and the wife is outside. She's about to enter the residence, and I asked her, are we done? Are we done moving your belongings, or do we need to come back tomorrow? And the female officer was inside, and she was right next to me when I asked her. And I wasn't even asking the officer, I was asking the wife.
Yeah.
And her first reaction was, for the 5th time, she's done.
Yeah.
And she said it right in my face. We never had any verbal communication. She just yelled at me, because she just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I didn't deserve that kind of treatment. I didn't deserve to be scolded that way. So I backed up and I told her, could you calm down? I mean, I didn't understand where the aggression was coming from.
Yeah.
And right away she asked me for ID.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you believe that? Because I asked her to calm down. She's immediately, I need to see your ID.
Oh shoot! And what happened?
Yeah, yeah. And the first thing I thought of was, what would a cop block do?
Yeah.
You know. So I said, did I commit a crime?
Yeah.
And she wouldn't answer. I need to see ID. Did I commit a crime? You know, I don't need to show you ID if I haven't committed a crime. I haven't done anything to this officer.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't even speaking to her, and she's coming at me that way. So the male officer who was right next to her started screaming at me. You asked too many questions here, boy. You better leave this residence before I take out the cuffs and arrest you or blah blah blah. I don't remember. I was just so scared that.
Wow.
Yeah. The first thing I did was put my hands up to show I wasn't a threat.
Oh my god.
And even the family inside were shocked by the way the cops reacted. You know. So I walked out of the residence. I was waiting in the parking lot, and I see that the female officer pulled my friend aside and started investigating her, or interrogating her, right?
Yeah.
And 10 minutes later, she comes out screaming my full name, screaming my address.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah, she's
Wow.
yeah, she's yelling my personal information out in public. Right? She's not inside the house. She's outside screaming my personal information.
Wow.
You know, and I'm just shocked. How dare you? You know?
Yeah.
She even said my social security number out loud.
Oh my god. Wow.
I couldn't believe this was coming from a police officer. This is someone just using scare tactics.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like the family were just surprised, and we ended up leaving the residence just because the police officer didn't want to deal with us. So we left because we were scared that they were going to arrest us. So yeah. So the people that call the police officers end up having to leave the residence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, people have to realize how unaccountable they are. Like any action that they do, you know, they have no.
I was scared. I was scared that they were going to arrest me and charge me for misconduct. You know, whatever that means.
Resisting arrest. That's a funny accusation.
Yeah, it literally means you didn't do anything wrong. We're going to arrest you anyways, and we're just going to charge you because we can, and we don't have a supervisor here to watch the proceedings, so we're just going to act the way we like.
Have you seen the?
Who do you call if the cops are abusing your rights? You can't call. There's nobody else to call.
Exactly. Who do you call?
Except an attorney.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure that's going to be cheap too, right? An attorney.
All right.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's basically a monopoly on violence. You know, that's what people have to realize. And the only thing that gives the law teeth is the guns of the police, right?
I honestly have to say I'm I'm more worried about a police officer than any common criminal, because at least a criminal is not going to pretend like he has a right to assault you or take your things. He knows he's doing it. You know, he knows he's just going to do whatever he feels like it.
Yeah.
But at least with a criminal, he's not trying to justify it. You know, he's not trying to convince me that he's doing some kind of service.
Yeah, it's amazing that people go into that field actually thinking that they're going to help people and protect the innocent and arrest evildoers and crap like that.
It's the opposite. I think they're more violent than the criminals because they get away with it.
Yeah. There's a rap song. I don't know if you heard of it. This is what happens when you call the cops. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen it. And it's sad because it's all real footage. Of cops just doing what they do best. And what really upsets me is when people say, "Oh, it's just a few bad apples." It's not a few bad apples. This is the culture of police officers. They just do whatever they feel like, and and if they're angry and if you've hurt their ego, they'll physically do something about it.
Yeah.
Because there's no one watching your back.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the world. Well, that's the world as it is today, right? That's what volunteers and anarchists strive to do, is teach people that there's a different way that's possible, that we don't have to interact with people through the guns of government, through institutionalized violence, right?
Yeah, and it's sad that people just, they see a uniform, they see a badge, and they disregard the violence.
Yeah, yeah, or they think that person probably did something to deserve it, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever they're
but
doing,
but if the guy's covered in tattoos and he's wearing baggy clothes and he's doing the same thing, then somehow that's
And
worse.
especially
Or
if he's black or Hispanic, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's really amazing.
somehow that uniform just justifies everything.
Oh yeah, definitely. Complete blindness to moral, natural law, morality.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's finish up. I don't want to keep you too long. So tell everyone where they could find your work if they want to seek out your services.
Yeah, sure. You could visit my website, graphicdesigner.com. It's not with a C, it's with an X. Graphics with an X.
Okay.
Graphicdesigner.com. And you can see my portfolio there. I have a bunch of websites, from medical websites to race car websites to pet shops. And if anyone from the anarchist community needs a website or some logo or graphics, just feel free to call me, and I'll even take your bitcoins.
Excellent.
So,
And then just to let everyone know that Justin is working on my website, so I'm very grateful for that.
yeah, I'm doing my best.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. So if you want to finish up with any message for the audience.
Yeah, just don't trust government. Just do everything yourself. If you need better healthcare, if you need a better car, a better house, just work for it. Just start your own business. Think outside the box. Don't do what other people tell you to do. Don't go in with this false mentality that the school's gonna solve all your problems. It didn't for me. I had to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
So
Actually, I think a good principle you can live by is what George Carlin said. Basically, is I don't trust anything the government tells me. So
yeah, you really shouldn't.
if you take that as a first principle, that everything that a politician says is a lie, especially usually everything they see on mainstream television is a lie. That's a pretty good principle to start off with.
Yeah.
Even if you have no prior knowledge. But all right, very good. Thank you very much for the conversation.
You too.
Yeah. So this is Peaceful Anarchism on the Voluntary Virtues Network and the Conscious Resistance Network. Wishing everyone have a wonderful day. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.